It's week 9, day 62 of my full-time chronic pain rehabilitation journey. My name's Jason, and today I'm going to talk about how to avoid avoidance behaviors like binge watching Netflix. But first, a quick status update. I feel energetic and connected and integrated today, much different than I felt last night, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I have a personal record today on the elliptical. I went 35 minutes for over 400 calories. And this corresponds to the tip that I'm going to share with you today, which is to be incremental. So I noticed a while back that my knees would hurt when I would ride the bike. And so I kind of planned on bike being my alternate to swimming activity, cardio activity, and it turned out that I couldn't do it, or I at least predict I won't be able to do it long term because of the knee problem. So I'm like, well, let's try the elliptical. But I've learned from long experience that I don't go all in. I didn't translate from 30 minutes on the bike to 30 minutes on the elliptical. I backed off to 5 minutes first, and then I inched it up by 5 minutes to 10, 15, 20, all the way to 35 today. So I'm really proud of myself. I did it the right way, and I achieved a new goal, and I have something that I can do other than swimming for my cardio health. Now on to today's topic, which is avoiding avoidance behaviors. So last night, I noticed something was wrong. I was eating way more food than I normally do. It was pizza night. Instead of having 2 or 3 slices, I had 6. Then I binged on some chocolate chips from the pantry, and I started eating a bunch of popcorn. All right, so the light bulb went off in my head. Something's wrong. And it doesn't necessarily have to be binge eating that will clue you into the fact that you're avoiding something. It could be marathon gaming. It could be binge watching Netflix. Substitute whatever your avoidance behavior is for mine, and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So the light bulb goes off in my head, and this is step 1. Notice that you're trying to avoid something. For me, it was the fact that I was stuffing my face clued me into the fact that I was avoiding something. And then the next step was to identify what am I trying to avoid. And there were 2 things that I realized. 1, my wife's hours have been cut back, and we're relying on her income to sort of fill the gap for my missing income while I'm doing this for up to 6 months. And if that work shortage continues, we may run out of funds. So there was some financial stress mixed in there. And then I have been sleeping poorly for the last 2 weeks. I sleep all night, but it's interrupted sleep. So I keep waking up, and I don't know why. And it's been going on for a couple weeks now. And so that kind of, well, 1, makes me sleep deprived, which makes me more prone to fear in the first place. But it also triggers a fear of, what if I can't sleep well? I need to sleep well. I know that my mind just doesn't work right if I'm not sleeping well. So I identified those fears, and then step 3 is confronting them, which means sit with them. Don't run away from them. Don't avoid. Don't hide. And this is the hardest part. How do I know that? Because I struggle with it badly, and I suspect you will struggle with it too. The whole reason we go on our Netflix binge or start to binge eat or whatever it is that we do is because we want to avoid these feelings. For some reason, they're so scary that we have to hide from them. And so sitting with them is the act of just not trying to avoid them, not trying to make them go away, not trying to hide. And so just sitting with it and letting it pass and feeling them, just marinate in it, right? It's hard to do, but just marinate in it. Don't try to wish them away. Don't try to come up with some strategy to make them go away quicker. Just sit with them. Let them sit. And then the next step is, after you've sat with them for a while, see if there's something you can do to resolve them. So I may have to reach out to some family and say, hey, I need a little help to get through this journey that I'm on because I can't quite do it alone like I'd planned to maybe. Maybe I'll get done sooner than I thought. There are many possibilities here, but I started playing with the possibilities of how to resolve the issue of running out of money. And then also, I did an inventory of my sleep behaviors. Do I have a bedtime routine? Am I sticking to it? The answer is yes. Is there something that I think might be making me not sleep well? Well, I started using protein shakes about 2 weeks ago. So is it possible that the protein shakes are somehow interfering with my sleep? I don't know. So I've got to drop them for a few days and see if my sleep improves. So I came up with some resolutions, ways to compensate and deal with what I was afraid of. And then if you take even a step back further, while you're not in the moment feeling these things, you can actually sit back and go, which of these are recurring? Does any of this come up again and again? And for me, there are some things that pop up once in a while. And so I'm like, okay, let's identify those recurring fears and plan out and visualize a response to those in advance. So the next time that I confront that, I have a plan of action. One for me is a bad night's sleep. I'm always afraid of a bad night's sleep because I know what it does to my brain, so I have what I call a bad day protocol, which is I follow an exact list of steps to try to help me come back online as much as possible for the next day. I can't fully compensate for a bad night's sleep, but I can make a pretty big difference if I follow the steps that I've laid out in advance. So that's an example of that. So the ultimate truth here is that it's more uncomfortable to avoid your fears than it is to face them. Why? Because eventually you have to face them anyway, and all the avoidance behaviors in between essentially make it worse. It's wasted time, wasted energy, and you still have to confront it in the final analysis anyway. So just confront it now. Fighting for your life means having the courage to face your fears. You're going to have to face them eventually, so why not face them today? If you found this video helpful, please pass it along to friends and family or whomever, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep on fighting.